So I thought I'd give you a video to help stretch out the back. You will need 2 blocks or maybe instead a rolled blanket or a bolster. Okay, so whenever you're ready, we'll start in our tabletop pose. Wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. We can find a little bit of movement here to start. So rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, coming into your cat pose. And when we come into this here, we want to imagine we're pushing the earth away from us. Send the back up towards the sky. So we kind of look like a Halloween cat here or an angry cat, but we tuck our chin. And then moving in the other direction into your cow pose, tailbone points up towards the sky, shoulders roll back and down the spine. Perhaps you imagine that there's a string pulling your heart through between your shoulders. Let's go one more time in each direction. Tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, come into your cat pose, push the earth away. Continue to breathe. And then come into your cow pose, tailbone points up towards the sky, pull the heart through. From here, we're going to come into puppy pose. So find your tabletop flat back. In puppy, we keep our hips over top of our knees. And then walking the arms out long. So if your forehead doesn't come all the way to the earth, feel free to grab 1 or 2 props to place underneath your forehead. And then perhaps you kind of experiment here with it a little bit. Where does it feel best to bring your arms? Is it narrow or is it wide? Melt the heart. And if you wish to make this a little bit more challenging, you can always place your chin on the floor rather than your forehead. All right, slowly take a quick peek at where your arms are, or excuse me, where your hands are. This is where we're gonna put our blocks. So whenever you're ready, you're gonna walk your hands back. Find your blocks, doesn't have to be exact. The blocks go where your hands were. And then, so same thing as before, hips stay over top of the knees, walk the arms out. So the higher your blocks are, the more of a stretch you're going to feel here. You might be feeling this a little bit more in the shoulder, in the chest area. All right, and then slowly making your way back into your tabletop. And we're gonna move the blocks over to the side, make sure they're close by. You're gonna make your way over to seated. And we're gonna come on to our backs here. So I'll show you with the blocks and also with a rolled blanket, the things we can do here on the back. So one thing that we are going to do is if you have blocks, you're going to place both blocks on the floor. The one at the top is going to come underneath your head. You may have to adjust when you come down, but they're both going to go like long on the mat. Again, the lower the block is, the less of a stretch. The higher it is, the more of a stretch. We'll start low just to begin. So we're going to come down onto the blocks. We want that block closest to the body to come right around where the bra strap is, or just below the shoulders, the shoulder blades. And the other block comes underneath the head. So for the low back, it's more comfortable to keep the feet on the earth, knees bent, maybe even knees together, feet wide. So I'm just going to bring the arms out here by the sides, palms face up towards the sky. Great, and breathe. Notice how it feels in your back, in your rib cage, as you take deep inhales and long, slow exhales. All right, so if you wish to feel a little bit more, be very careful as you do this. Perhaps you reach for that block that's underneath your head. Slowly remove the block and slowly bring your head down towards the earth. All right, let's find 2 more rounds of breath. All right, and when you come up, be careful with your neck, tucking the chin in towards your chest as you slowly come up onto your forearms and then come on out. So I realized while I was down there, I didn't show you what to do with the blanket if you have a blanket. Instead, with our blanket, we just bring it long on the earth so that it comes, same thing, between the shoulder blades, underneath the head. And then if we want to make it so that it's just in the middle of the back, we just turn the blanket and come down. Okay. All right. So we're going to find one more pose here using the blocks underneath our backs. So it's a variation of a supported fish. So the blocks are going to go a little bit different. So instead of going sideways, we're going to turn that first block the other way. We're going to create like a T here. The lower it is, the easier it is on your body. Okay. So we can start with both blocks being the same height, or perhaps you're going to remove that back block or make this middle block higher. So I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to come down and we want the block closest to the body to be between the shoulder blades. Now, depending on your body, this may not feel the best between the shoulder blades because our block can be kind of wide. Maybe instead you use a rolled blanket, or another option, if it's comfortable for you in your body, is to change the direction of this block. So instead of it being flat, we turn it so that it's kind of in the medium height. So we can do the same thing for the one under the head. Just be careful as you come down because it'll likely flip out. So depending on where you are, you can make this more challenging if you would like by either removing that back block or making the one under the head, sorry, or making it a lower height. So somewhat similar to the last pose that we did, but this just kind of gets into the middle of the back a little bit more, opens the shoulders a little more. All right, so same thing as before. Be very mindful of your neck as you come up. Some people like to roll over to one side to come up, but that can be challenging with the blocks. All right, our last one is for the low back. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So in our supported bridge, finding one block or two or the blanket, placing it beside you. Feet come to the earth, knees are bent, feet are hip distance apart. We're going to take our prop. We're going to slide it underneath us, pushing the feet into the earth. Prop comes under at the sacrum. So we're not in the low back, but just below. So the higher your block is, the more challenging it is. So you can always make adjustments by pushing your feet into the earth, lifting the hips and flipping the block. Again, don't bring it into the low back. Some people like it on the highest setting for the block. There we go. And be mindful if you bring it to the highest setting, it's a little wobbly. And then just softening here, soften your hips. See if you can soften the low back. Wherever you are, let's bring the feet back so they're hip distance apart. Push the feet into the earth to remove your prop and slowly bringing your back down towards the earth. All right, so no sudden movements here, or we can tweak the low back. So maybe you stay flat, back flattens to the earth. Or perhaps feet come wide on the mat and you windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then whenever you're ready, roll over to one side, whichever side is calling for you, and then making your way up to seated. Okay, so thank you.